worried about what to do for this Devo, and as I was worrying, I thought what better topic to do than worrying itself. I spend a lot of time myself worrying, so I thought I would share some of the verses I read when I'm spending a lot of time worrying and trying not to. So one of my favorite verses is in Matthew chapter 6. There's a whole section where Jesus is talking about not worrying and the importance of not worrying and why we shouldn't. And it's the last verse, it's verse 34, that I really like. It says, "Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own." And I really like that verse because Jesus is telling us that we don't need to worry about anything, because each moment, it says each day, but like each and every moment itself, we have situations and problems going on, and we need to spend our time focusing on getting through one situation at a time. God doesn't want us going through a tough time, and during that tough time, we're thinking about all the other problems that will be happening in the future, because that puts a lot of stress and it makes us worry even more. And God knows that, so he's telling us we don't need to do that. He's there walking with us through each and every step and each and every problem, and he wants us to be there with him in those moments when he's helping us through all those tough times, instead of thinking about all the other problems that could be happening in the future. And I was thinking about the things that I think a lot of teenagers spend a lot of time worrying about, and I worry about those things too. And I think people worry about what other people think of them and how they look. So when people are worried about what they think of them, it becomes like an obstacle in their relationship with God. And in Proverbs chapter 29, verse 25, it says, "Fear of man will prove to be a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord is kept safe." So if we spend all our time worrying about what other people are going to think of us, it becomes a snare, an obstacle. And instead of focusing on God, our thoughts are consumed with what other people are going to think and how they're viewing us and judging us, when there's actually no human that can judge us perfectly or see us perfectly. So we're wasting our time trying to impress human standards instead of trying to grow in our relationships and grow to become what God wants and what God's standards are. And I think a lot of people spend their time trying to impress people by the way they look. And I'm guilty of that too. I'll spend extra time looking in the mirror trying to fix my hair just so. And I know there are guys who will do the same thing. It's not just girls. Guys and girls alike will spend extra time trying to fix our hair, making our clothes just right, putting on perfume and cologne and whatever, because we want to impress people. And it's our human nature to want to do that. And in 1 Peter, one of my absolute favorite verses is in chapter 3. And it's verses 3 and 4. And it says, "Your beauty should come not from your outward adornment, such as braided hair and the wearing of gold jewelry and fine clothes. Instead, it should be that of your inner self, the unfading beauty of a gentle and quiet spirit, which is of great worth in God's sight." So God doesn't want us to be worrying about what we look like on the outside, because our outward beauty and our outward looks is someday going to fade away. Like the clothes that we're wearing today because we think it's so in style, like 20 years from now, our kids are going to look at us and they're going to be like, "You wore that? That's so like old looking, and I would never wear that. That's not cool." And it's not going to be popular anymore. It's going to get old, but our inner beauty, that's what remains. It doesn't matter how old we are, how young we are, it's our inner beauty, and that's what God's looking at, is what our souls look like and what our hearts look like. So instead of trying to impress people by what our outward appearance is, we should be worrying about what our insides look like and making sure it meets God's standards of what he wants. So the next time anytime you're worried about what other people think of you, or you're worried about any situation you're in, just remember that God's walking through those steps with you, and He doesn't want you to worry because He's right there with you and He's never going to leave you.